Let's go.
Yep, good to go.
Good. So can I have everyone's attention? Alright. Hi guys, thank you all for coming. I know you're all anxious and excited to get your ideas out there. We're all excited to hear about them. So I won't take any more of your time. So the judges are going to draw. Who's going to go first, second, third, and fourth.
So each team has a name in here from like participating team, and then just pick one.
So number one will be
Dalton.
Dalton's going up first.
Wait, shouldn't you get to choose? Yeah, wasn't that the point of the drawing? Didn't you get to choose?
Well,
No, it's order.
Oh, it's just random.
It's random.
I choose first.
Okay, second team is gonna be
Matt's team.
third team is gonna be Waji's team. Yes. And then the fourth is
Yeah.
All right, Dalton, you want to step up? So guys, the judges for today, thanks Brad, thanks for coming. You'll be Sim. He's an Enactus alumni. He's works in his own, he has his own business and everything, and he's been successful since he's last year. And then we have Simon from Niagara College. You all heard back from yesterday. So thank you guys for coming.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dalton Steele. I'm a third-year BBA co-op student studying here at the Goodman School of Business. Today, I'm really excited to share with you an opportunity that I discovered in the museum industry in Ontario. My company is called Panoply Digital. For those of you who don't know, the word panoply, it means an extensive and impressive collection. And I think that resonates really well with the business idea that I have to share with you guys. Okay, so to dive into the problem, we first need to look at the idea of digital archiving. Museums, they have these vast collections of historically significant material, but only a small portion of them, unfortunately, actually end up on display. So in 2010, it became in really high demand for these museums and institutions to start digitizing their work. Doing this internally can be extremely costly, and in addition to that, there's a bit of a learning curve that's involved. And the equipment that they're using is mediocre in comparison to what I hope to introduce to the market. So Panoply Digital really aims to automate this process, which basically allows us to digitize items more efficiently and at a higher rate. So basically these museums are going to get more bang for their buck as opposed to paying a full-time employee. We offer like an unmatched level of quality, which I hope to kind of explain to you guys in a moment. But it really is focusing on color accuracy and high resolution images. So the color accuracy element of the system that I'll be working with is really great because it cuts out a lot of time involved in doing these images. It cuts out time because basically you don't have to spend time editing them after you take them, which these institutions normally are not set up to do. The other great thing about this business idea that I'm proposing is that I offer an on-site service. The on-site service is especially unique because That means that these irreplaceable and really delicate material never actually have to leave the facility. So that creates a really comfortable B2B relationship with my clients. So here's a quick example of a piece that I photographed in Toronto. I'll actually show you a quick sample, but it's from an original that was an 18 by 24 inches in size. So this is just a reproduction of the painting, but this is the size just for reference. And the projector really doesn't do this photo justice, but the color is so accurate really that, and this system that I was using in Toronto is so accurate that if I was wearing a red color shirt as opposed to wearing all black, I can actually use software to measure the difference in color in the image. That isn't something that you'd be able to detect with the human eye, but it just really sheds some light on the kind of quality that this type of technology can offer. Not only that, but if you were to kind of take a crop, 100 times sample from this photo with the proper software, you can actually see how much detail there is. You could actually see the fibers in the paper, and you don't have to be a photographer for that to kind of like give you chills when you see it happen. So I want to talk a little bit about my support network right now. I have really great connections through BioLink, working with other passionate student entrepreneurs. The Enterprise Center in St. Catharines is helping me kind of formalize my business plan, as well as Venture Niagara has given me a lot of great insight in how to fund a project of this size. And then these are two of my key mentors, these gentlemen here. On the right is Walter Burchenko. He's been working with me to help demo the equipment so I can actually learn this technology before investing in it. So I've been working with him in Toronto on this technology. He's got over 30 years of professional photography experience, and he has he's a huge endorser of Phase 1 products. And then on the left here is David Sharon. He's the head of special collections and archives department in the Brock Library. He's been a huge help to me so far, and he really shed some light on how big this opportunity is in this industry. He said that at Brock, our collection has less than 1% of Brock's collections have been digitized to date, and that's with full-time staff dedicated to that purpose. In addition to that, he's really interested in working with me on another project that I'm going to be telling you about in a moment. Here's a quick look at what that technology kind of looks like. The great thing about this Phase 1 technology is it's completely modular. So that means that as the technology improves, I can swap it out and add to my setup. In addition to that, it can be completely taken apart, which allows me to bring it on site, which is a service that isn't really offered in this industry as of yet. Just jumping back, the technology from B3K Digital, I was quoted $93,000 for this technology for all of the equipment that I need. It seems like a large upfront investment, but from my financial projections, you should see that that cost can definitely be justified. So that quote encompasses professional lighting from Broncolor, this reprographic system that I just showed you from Phase 1, and then the complementary software, which is a Capture One, specifically the Cultural Heritage Edition. Okay, so just looking at my target market, I'm mainly focusing on museums, universities, and libraries in Ontario. There's 318 museums registered with the Ontario Museum Association, 21 publicly funded and 17 privately funded universities, and 316 libraries. And those vary in size depending on the municipality. And then my sales strategy is really one-on-one. It's like a B2B focused sales strategy. So it starts off with just a cold call to the museum curators and to the collections managers. And then from there, after generating some interest, we arrange for a meeting where I can present them with this promotional book. So this is going to be essential to my go-to-market strategy. But basically, this book will kind of give them a brief overview of what my business does, the value that it adds to my clients, and then it has a variety of sample work. And that's really what I hope to work on with David from the library at Brock, is to take some of Brock's collection, a little variety from here and there, and show them all the different applications that we can do. From there, if there's an even greater interest, we set up another meeting to discuss the specifics of a project and look at grant options for funding it, as well as what their current budget is and what the project size would look like. All right, so the direct competition would basically be records management companies and digital archiving companies. So these already exist. One moment. Brief technical difficulties. Should be back in a second. I'll have to come back to show you guys the financial projections I've laid out. But for my competition, the direct competition would be like records management companies, as well as these digital archiving companies. So Brock has worked with those in the past, but the real disadvantage of working with companies like that is the material has to actually leave the site, which is a huge concern for these companies. And that's the kind of comfort level and peace of mind that I want to kind of solidify with my clients. The other actually indirect competition is a greater threat, and that's the internal staff that are already dedicated to doing this digitization work for the museums. Okay, so basically, my service can produce images at a much higher rate, so they get more images done for the same price, as well as they're going to be at a much higher resolution than what they're accustomed to. And in addition to that, if an institution is looking to hire an employee for a new project versus hiring an outside company like mine, you'll find that it takes about 2 months just for the hiring process alone at a university. So with a company like mine, I can come in, get the job done, and get out clean and simple, all while maintaining that really comfortable B2B relationship. And then I need this slide to kind of go thoroughly through the financial projections. So let's see if we can get it back up. Oh, that might be it. Oh, there we go. Don't freak out. It's okay. Okay. So this is kind of what my pricing model looks like. This is competitive with those records management companies, but it also adds that benefit of that comfort level that I was talking about earlier. So books would be 38 cents a page, and which is actually really difficult for these institutions to do with the technology that they're already equipped with, just because it's hard to get a flat image of the pages because they naturally will be curved. So it takes a lot more time to do books, so that is a major advantage for this kind of technology that I have with Pigs One. Small objects and artifacts are 90 cents per image. Medium format is $1.80 each, and large format would be $3.95 each. So I'm just going to run through 2 quick scenarios of order examples. So a small order from a museum in Toronto that's looking to get 50 books, 20 medium format pieces, and 8 large format pieces. That would take about 23 work days, so about a month of work. There would be a fixed on-site fee of $300 for basically renting a U-Haul and moving this to their site and setting up. And then there would be a hard drive fee, which would just be a fixed fee. I'm not looking to profit from that. It's just so that they have some kind of format. No, okay. It's just that they have some kind of format to work with. And I can verbally run you through the rest of these. So there's an imaging fee, assuming 250 pages. That's so weird. Assuming there's 250 pages in the average book that they'd be reproducing, that's 12,500 pages at 38 cents a page, which is $4,750. $36 for the medium format work and $31 for the large format work. And then also an indexing fee, basically just labeling all of the pieces. And that's also competitive with most records management companies.
Going to the panel is fine. It's gotta be one of the ones.
Okay, it's definitely the wall, so you guys know. Okay, let's try this one more time. We'll power through it from here. Okay, so with an indexing fee of $1,000, that's at 8 cents, which, like I said, is also competitive with these records management companies. Brock's actually worked with one, and they spent about $5,000 on a project similar in size. But this is a $6,200 project, as you can see, and it also includes a courtesy 3-year backup in case they lose all these files. We keep them on for 3 years so that they can be backed up. And then looking at a large order scenario, the same museum in Toronto is looking to do 1,000 books. This is a much larger project. It works out to about 312 work days. So let's assume a year. It has the same on-site fee, flat rate, and then larger fees for the hard drive because it's a lot more space that they need for those images. But that works out at the same 250 page average per book to 250,000 pages, which is a $95,000 project. An additional $20,000 if they want that index. So that's a $115,000 project that takes about 1 year. You'll realize that the smaller size projects, if you can land one of those per month in your first year of running, then you actually break even within the first 1.5 to 2 years of operation. And that is relative no matter whether you have the large orders or the small orders, because it still takes the same amount of time and you're usually only one setup. So in the event that you're getting the larger orders, all you're really getting with that is the security that you're gonna know you have a steady business. Okay, and then the use of the funds finally, if are doing the 800, the production of the sales promotion books I was talking about, that's an essential part of my go-to-market strategy because it shows the clients the quality I'm capable of. From that, I can confirm paid projects, and in turn, I can get my loan, justify my bank loan, and from there, purchase the equipment and move on to finishing these projects. So January to May would be the sales strategy that I told you about and trying to confirm those paid orders. Early June would be acquiring the equipment and running a practice project with the Brock Press to digitize folders that they have stored through the Brock library. And that would actually be my summer fall co-op. The great thing about Brock is I can do my co-op placement running my own business. So that'd be an 8-month co-op placement that I can dedicate fully and be working full-time on something like this. And then mid-June to August, I hope that that would be a good time frame to start actually working on these paid orders, all the while continuing to set up sales meetings and trying to gain new clients. So I just want to thank you guys for your time. Thank you for everyone for coming out and the Brock Enactus chapter for putting this competition together. Thanks to the judges for being here. And you guys have any questions? I'd like to open up the floor for questions.
Sure. I have a question. You're done with your presentation. The technical difficulty, I understand, is not your fault. It's my wife.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys just bear with that. But one question I had, you said in your cost, there would be like a $500 flat fee to move the equipment from your location to your working location?
Right.
And that would be charged to the customer, correct?
Yeah, that would be charged to the customer. So
is that something you would look to have as your own inherent cost eventually down the line once you become more profitable?
Yeah, once the business is more profitable, you could definitely subsidize other costs like that. So I guess the idea of structuring it this way is I'm not looking to make a profit. I'm just looking to get the equipment to their site. So I wouldn't be charging them a markup. That was just an estimated cost of what it would cost to take a U-Haul from here to Toronto. So if it was a much further destination, the price would fluctuate, obviously. But for now, they're paying that flat rate so that they have that level of comfort, basically, of me being on site.
I guess like the second part to that question is, sure, how would you like justify that to the customer? Because like, isn't that your business cost and not their cost technically, like to move the equipment, like that should be part of it. Unless you like kind of put it in the pricing without them knowing, that's something different. But like if you say like I'm gonna charge you $500 to move it from A to B,
Right.
isn't that your own cost technically and not shouldn't be their cost? Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's a good question. It could definitely be rearranged. I'm definitely not a finance person, so I'm like that's why I'm working with a lot of these support networks. So there is definitely a way to kind of build that into the pricing model. But for now, because it can vary so heavily, like if I was working, like I store the equipment here, there's no overhead costs, right? But if I want to transport it to like Northern Ontario, that price will be a lot higher, and it would be too much for me to build into the model effectively, and I wouldn't really be able to absorb that cost. Maybe in the future, when the business is more profitable and I have locations set up in Northern Ontario, then that would be possible to subsidize that cost. But right now, it's just something that I tell them upfront. This is you're paying this fee, and the value that you gain out of that is really great. Like it freaks out museum curators knowing that irreplaceable, delicate materials are being removed from their facility for months at a time. So that is really invaluable.
Any questions? One question about liability.
Sure.
If you're going into a facility using their equipment primarily to set everything up, but like when you're doing the digitizing, is the onus on you to keep everything okay or onus on them? So like the question I'm posing to you is like insurance.
Yeah.
What type of insurance policy would you need for something like that?
So the insurance would actually, like all of the work owned by the museum, the collections like at Brock, for example, that work is insured by them. But the problem is that it's like irreplaceable work. So if you damage it, you are still going to be liable. Like financially, you're not liable for the damage of that, but from a perspective of like the relationship that you're maintaining between them, it doesn't look good if you're to damage something. So I take on the liability of that. The insurance costs that I incur are on the technology that I own, so I would have insurance payments for that. But they are insuring like their own artwork and their own artifacts as well. One thing that I'm doing to kind of not get around that, but to accommodate that concern is to get my certification for the Ontario Museum Association to handle this kind of work. That's another problem with records management companies. They're used to working with files from large companies. They're not used to unwrapping historic maps and working with that kind of material, which also kind of breaks the level of comfort with clients. So that's something I'm looking to do to kind of create that comfort level. Does that answer your question?
I have one follow-up question.
Sure.
So when your direct competition removes the documents from the facility,
Yeah.
what's the difference between them doing the work now, production liability?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
What's the difference between a liability and concern? With regards to you doing the work in there and them taking it out now?
Liability-wise, it's not really much of a difference. It's still like someone else that's handling it, but there's a lot of like I guess the people in David's words, my mentor's words, they're very fussy. So these people, like, they dedicate their lives to the conservation of this type of material. So to see it physically leave the facility leaves them really uneasy. No matter whether it's a trusted company that they're working with, they'd rather it just move down the hall, if that makes sense. So it's not really a matter of a liability concern because it's the same in both cases because it's still another company working with the material. But at least they have that peace of mind, right?
Okay, so you said 318 museums, over 21,000 educational institutions, and 316 libraries. Now, is that in Canada or is that in Ontario?
So that's Ontario. So there's 21 publicly funded and 17 privately funded universities in Ontario.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I see how that figure would seem a little bit insane.
Okay. Now, you're primarily going to be doing most of the legwork for this, right?
Absolutely. I actually did have a slide, but I didn't want to. Take up too much of your time. But I removed a slide on my management team, so I'm looking at expanding that by getting a sales associate with. So I'm looking to hire a student when the work becomes a little bit too daunting. I'm looking to hire a student as a sales associate, so they would kind of run these sales meetings, and they'd be able to connect with the clients on a more deeper level than I can, because I'm looking for someone with a master's in museum studies. So preferably my school of choice would be like Queen's University, has a really good program there. And then in addition to that, the photography work is really not that difficult. You don't actually need a lot of experience. It's the calibration of the technology that you need knowledge of. But once it's calibrated, it's really push button type of work, and then having the knowledge to handle it. So I'm looking to hire like 1 to 2 full-time photographers as well that will kind of handle that aspect. And then I can handle the back end business operations and the marketing end of it. And I can be kind of on call for them to consult if there's any technical problems.
Okay, so you ended up mentioning that if you were doing a large museum project, that it would end up taking approximately 312
Yeah.
days. And it's gonna be $93,000 for the actual equipment.
Yeah.
To buy. So if you end up getting a large contract that's gonna take you 312 days, and there's 318 museums and the educational institutions and the libraries, how much of this market share do you think that you can end up securing within your first 5 years of business? If it takes you that long to end up doing one museum.
That's a really good question. So I've actually kind of considered this. It's like, what if the number of orders coming in are becoming too much for one system to handle? But when you have an order presented to you of that size, or you have many like small to medium sized orders, and then a large order, $115,000 for example, that presents the opportunity to invest in more equipment, hire more employees, and branch out further to be able to handle that extra demand. So for example, speaking with Walter, he's familiar with another company that's very heavily endorses phase 1 technology called Creekside Digital. And they actually have secured with really large museums grant projects that are upwards of $300,000. So obviously an order of that size would kind of justify the cost of investing in more equipment.
Okay. How do you plan to funding the $93,000?
Okay, so this was like a really big concern for me. That's why I was meeting up with Venture Niagara's just to get that kind of financial advice, because I really have no idea what I'm doing as far as funding a project of that size. So their advice to me was that I'm not going to be able to get a loan or financial support unless I have prospective clients lined up. So that's why that promotional book that I'm working on is so key, and collaborating with Brock on that is so key, because it allows clients to see the quality of work I can provide. And then once a couple of different institutions are willing to give me a go, then I can justify the loan. So I can get a small business loan, or rather a larger business loan, for $100,000. And I can show them that I have these clients lined up and ready to make their payments. And that makes it a lot easier to loan out that money. It's kind of the assurance to the bank or the private loan provider that I can actually maintain business and meet my loan payments. And from there, I would actually acquire the equipment. So until then, I'd be using the equipment that I have through my connection, Walter, just to kind of build that portfolio.
Okay. You said that you wanted to end up hiring a salesperson.
Yeah.
And then 1 to 2 photographers to end up working for you. And you said that your break-even point would end up happening after 1 year.
Yeah.
Did you end up incorporating the cost of salary and the additional 2 to 3 employees in your break-even?
That break-even point is assuming that I'm doing the photography work. So full-time, I'd be doing the any projects that I incur, and then once the work becomes too daunting, that's when I was hoping to bring other people on board. So that break-even point is that accounts for my time and the insurance costs on the equipment and my living expenses if I have to travel and set up temporary living. So that's kind of what that accounts for.
I think that's enough time for the questions and everything. Thank you, Dalton, for the presentation.
Thanks.
One quick thing, I appreciate the enthusiasm from the audience, but let's hope we get the judges, the judges get the first word, and then if the time after, let's open the floor to the audience. Thanks. Looking forward to the next group though.
Also, yeah, if anyone's using this this cable, it's definitely the connection of the wall that's like being funky, so try not to mess with it. Thank you.
Whose laptop's the HP? The HDMI people?
Yeah, like just use for the presentation now,
Oh, yeah.
just instead of bringing a laptop out there.
Why is it so high? Huh? I don't know. Yeah, sit here.
Let's go to work. I think he's still at JDC. He's coming just now. Niggas want to go to their own event. I was like that. Yo, Mohammed, you might have to hold that wire for a bit. Or put some tape or something. What's JDC? Come on. Yeah, just. They have to do a case competition. Is that the first presentation? Or is this 3 more? Dalton? Oh, that's nah, he doesn't. He went up solo. Then the Valiant and the Angro, third group. Harpreet, Vans, and the Zeta. Isn't the group so shit happens. That's what happens. Look, I should be a judge, I swear to God.
You should, yeah.
I should be a judge.
You asked me a lot of questions.
Yeah, so there's supposed to be 3 judges. Glenn probably could make it.
Glenn?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, he's doing JDC, isn't he? No, he's helping out the team.
He might come after, who knows?
Yeah. Pardon? No. Huh? I know. Yes, I'm just here for fun. No, I'm helping out with the running. Yeah. Huh? Oh, I was at another event.
Yeah, it doesn't fit. Won't fit. Yeah, please don't. In there, man.
Yeah, when Vans, when you were like,
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm gonna go do
Wait, is he?
I just like, boy, he don't even show up to his own event.
I think they want to use your laptop.
Yeah, can I use yours?
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate
Oh, is it? You just
You're right. It was like, not this like Canadian Royal Fusion place, like where the formats and stuff, all events. Kind of like a mini restaurant, I'd say. A little bit past, it's on mine too. But like the national person was too big. But like they started like African music and then everybody started dancing. The show was fun. The guy who they got to come see. And then after I said, yo, I'm starting disclosing random stuff. He was doing his master's at He came in from New York.
He's flying out to Miami today. He gave me his number. He's from Jaden Finch. He grew up in the yeah, he's like, yo, he's like, where you grew up? You're Alexa. He's like, yo, I'm gonna have to get you a photo and stuff because he got like 10K followers on Instagram. So he makes a YouTube video. He's like, like a video blogger kind of. I don't know. I haven't watched his channel. He's like, yeah, we'll just take the followers. We'll do our thing. It's just like post it up. It's like stuff.
Yeah, I saw that.
10K videos where I get like.
Of course.
Thank you, boss. You have a good day?
I got up at like I got home at 3. Because like I had to help to be taking the stuff. So I was like, yeah, so what did you have for eating? They had some like rice and stuff there. Rice, Greek kind of late in the month. We were downtown. It was like a little bit past downtown. And then like, it was me by myself, so I wasn't really continue by myself.
So it's time. 2 minutes. Yeah. All right, if I could get everybody's attention. Excuse me. Second group's ready to go. So if you don't mind quieting down, so ladies and gentlemen can begin.
Thanks to everyone for coming out today. The business that we're running and going to be presenting today is called Express Lane. So we got Dylan Moffat, Mike Jackaszewski, Cam Perrion, and myself, Matt Clark. So today we're just going to quickly look at the problem we're solving. I'll give you a brief description of who we are, how our service works, the pricing model we're going to be using, who's our direct competition, the marketing strategy we're using, a really quick overview of our financials, and then the opportunities and challenges going forward, and let's do a quick conclusion. Okay, so the problem we're solving is grocery shopping and alcohol delivery. So as you know now, the average Canadian works 9 to 5. When they get home, you're going to be tired. You have like a 20-minute, 30-minute commute on average. The last thing you really want to be doing is going to the grocery store and waiting in long lines. You don't really want to walk around the store hoping to buy everything for your family. And especially families nowadays with kids or students who are studying for exams and families who have to take care of their kids and go to many events. Like, you don't want to be wasting your free time. And the second one's alcohol delivery. So if you've had a drink or two, you really don't want to be driving. It's a lot easier if you have someone deliver it for you, right? It's a safe alternative. Another big thing is, let's say you're having a party last minute, you forget to get alcohol, you don't have transportation. I mean, there's just a multitude of reasons why you really don't want to be driving yourself, and it's really handy to have delivery to you. So I can just talk a little bit further on waiting. So basically the problem right now is there's not really a huge demand, obviously, right now for grocery delivery because there is no service to do it. I mean, you have small personalized shoppers can bring your groceries to you, but there's not really an actual reliable service where you can go online and have everything delivered to you already. Once we actually provide this service and show people that, hey, you can save an hour to an hour and a half of your time every week by not actually going to the grocery store and doing this reliably and affordably, it'll be very attractive to a large amount of people. Okay, so here we are. So as I said, right now, we see ourselves as a delivery company because we're brand new and we're starting, okay? So what we do is we actually go out, we buy the groceries, we buy the alcohol, and we drive to our customer's door and deliver it to them, and they pay us there. But we're not just a delivery company. In fact, as quickly as we can, we're moving away from a delivery company to a logistics company. And furthermore, we may even consider ourselves a tech company. Because in the future, actually very soon, our website's going to be fully interactive, and an entire grocery store is going to be on it with current prices, discounts, and anything like that.
So our customers can actually see everything they'd be seeing in the grocery store right online. So the biggest thing our company's gonna be doing is we're gonna be dedicated to satisfying market demand. So as you guys know, when Dropbox started, there wasn't really demand for their service because no one knew they had that problem. Once we offer the service and people know we no longer have to grocery shop, wait in lines, or drive to the actual store themselves, they'll be a lot more enticed to do it. To create this market demand, we're gonna focus on quality and customer satisfaction. So that means obviously making the orders right, getting everything they ask for, and showing them the discounts that they can get. But also if we forget an item, items out of stock, even though it might decrease our profit margins, we'll make sure that the customer comes first. All right, so as you can see, this is our website right now, and 95% of our customers order through our website. So you quickly go, you click groceries, type in your address, what time you want delivered at, and what items you want. We'll go out, we'll buy the items, we'll come straight to your door, and you can pay us credit, debit, or cash. And if they want, they can pay online. And then what we do is just bring it right to the door, and it's incredibly simple. We also do this for alcohol, and they can do the exact same thing. They just click on the tab, it's very simple. The thing we think our customers really like so far is you can actually order, let's say, a couple days in advance, or Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever you like, and we come on that day at that time when you're home, and we have your entire grocery order for you. A few other things we're looking at too, is we found some of our customers actually like the idea of being able to call and text us, especially for students and younger adults. They found it was very convenient that they could just send us a text and we have our groceries right to them. And then, as I said, we have groceries and alcohol, but another really interesting area we're looking at is fresh produce. So as you know, farmers markets are becoming a lot more popular. A lot more people are trying to buy healthy, vegan, and vegetables. So we're gonna offer a service as summer comes around by partnering up with a farmer market vendor, and buying on bulk and delivering actual boxes of fresh produce right to the door with their groceries. So they can do this a couple times a week for a cheaper price than they get at the farmer's market. Now you're gonna be asking, okay, so we offer their groceries and bring right to the door, and that's good value, but what else can we do? So not only do we save them time and effort, we're also gonna try to create a little more value by giving them recipes, deals, and other tips for their food, helping them actually come up with new ways to cook their food and things like that. Okay, so our pricing model. So we were looking at many other models in the States that kind of do something like this, and we're trying to figure out what's the best pricing model. Usually it comes down to what they'll do is they'll do markups and markdowns on their website for prices. We decided a $5 delivery fee standard plus 10% commission. So what this allows us to do is to vary for the size of the order. So if they get a very large order, we'll make more profit since it takes more time and energy and effort. If it's a small order, they pay less. So it works for the customer and it works for us. We also think this is a very transparent way to do it to our customers because they can actually see the real prices of the grocery store items and they see what it costs for us to deliver instead of hiding things in the prices of items. And then for alcohol, the Ontario government says you have to do a $6 minimum fee for alcohol right now. We decided to do a $10 flat fee. A lot of other people actually charge, for example, let's say you buy a couple cases of beer, they'll charge $2 extra for each case of alcohol. Any over 3 bottles, they're gonna charge an extra $1 per bottle. And they also charge stopover fees. So if you want a bottle of wine from LCBO and a case of beer from the beer store, they're gonna charge an extra $4 for that. Whereas we just charge a flat fee and keep it nice and simple for them so they know what they're paying ahead of time. Okay, so now I'm gonna pass off to Cam and talk about our direct competition.
Okay, so some of the competition. So we have Instacart, and they're solely based in America. And they have annual revenue over $100 million. And they've achieved this by selling over thousands and thousands of customers in America. They have made this, delivering groceries, an exact science by being fast and efficient to do so. And they're rapidly expanding in America. They're based in many of the major American cities. There's still many places for them to expand in America, which is why they're not coming to Canada anytime soon. So we've actually been studying Instacart to identify their business model, figure out their successes and failures, and we're going to implement it into our business model to help us achieve success. So Uber Eats is actually another of their competitors, and they're Canadian-based, and they recently came to Canada less than 1 year ago, and they're solely based in downtown Toronto. And they sell products online, the groceries online. And so they're really new to the market, so it proves there's lots of area to expand in the Canadian market. And then there are many small local competitors in the Niagara region that we have to be concerned about. But after identifying these competitors, we realized that they're not as tech savvy as we believe that they could be. So we made sure that this is one of our advantages. So we allow the customers to call, text, or order online. As Matt mentioned earlier, 95% of our customers actually place orders online because of how user-friendly our online software is. And that obviously builds trust in the customer's minds. So I'm gonna pass it on to Mike to talk about the marketing strategies.
Right, so for marketing strategies, we were using guerrilla advertising techniques, which is a form of unique ways of advertising to the population. So for our minimum viable product, we were using other forms of social media that are very popular among Brock University students. We would talk about ourselves on these social media apps, and it's a great way to get directly to the customer. It's a one-on-one type of form of advertising, and it really allows us to gain customers that we didn't have before and maintain repeat customers from this form of marketing. Another thing we'll be talking about is relationship with the customer. So we're a startup, we're growing, and we're all going on the deliveries. We're going to each individual house and residence where we go, and we talk to the individuals, see how they are, and try to understand what we can improve with their websites, how we can make the experience better, if we can somehow be quicker, and try to develop a relationship with them. This is how we retain over 25% of repeat customers. Another thing that we talk about is advertising towards women in the St. Catharines area. So currently, women make 85% of the family purchases and control 73% of the household spending. So that's a pretty large financial responsibility from women. So they really control all the funding in the house. And males do 65% of the groceries regularly for these households. So with our service, we'll be able to allow the woman to maintain the control and make with the husband or boyfriend be happy and stay in the house. So the female consumer can go on our website, pick whichever products they want from our website, and then this allows the husband to stay home and do other tasks he may do, like spend time with his family or miscellaneous tasks around the house or work, whatever he chooses to do, homework. So now we'll be moving on to Facebook. Facebook is a great way to advertise to St. Catharines area, as seen in our exhibits here. And our top exhibit, you can see that over 80% of the people that used our advertisement were women. So it shows that the majority of women use Facebook. So this is a great way to advertise directly to the target market we're trying to appeal to. Also in our bottom exhibit, we spent a low budget on this advertisement and we were able to reach 6,000 people. We had 44 likes, we had 20 comments. So the majority of these comments were individuals who were linking other friends to this advertisement to let them see what amazing services we provide them. We also had 2 shares. So we were able to have over 400 clicks to our website because of this advertisement at a low budget, which is very amazing. Another great thing with Facebook is we're allowed to target our market. So with Facebook, we can set the range of ages we want to target. So we can do 18 to say 80 or 85. And we can target all of St. Catharines. Instead of doing all of Canada, we can just target the St. Catharines area, which is what we're trying to do in the near future. And finally, we're targeting niche markets within St. Catharines. So we're going for young adults, busy individuals, parents, elderly, and disabled. So the group of young adults, busy individuals, and parents, they have a lot of they're very busy individuals. You know, young adults, they're in school, they have homework, they have midterms. Busy individuals, so people who at work, you know, they work 9 to 5, they come home, they don't have time to do groceries, they just want their groceries delivered to them. The parents, they have other tasks that they could be doing with their children, like taking them to sporting events. So they're also very busy and may not have the time to do their groceries. So we are providing this service for them. Elderly individuals, they may not be the most tech savvy individuals, so we'll be going to them directly and doing advertisements in the newspapers, face-to-face advertisements, delivering flyers. So this is a great way to get to the market. And we'll be also providing a service for disabled individuals. So people who do not have the means of transportation to get to the grocery store, the people who don't have the ability to, say, carry their groceries. So we'll be able to provide this for them, which is another great way of providing the service for these individuals. So the niche market, these individuals will be more enticed to use our services. They'll be able to use our services and then use word of mouth advertising, which will allow our company to grow quicker in the St. Catharines area. Now we'll be moving on to financials of St. Catharines. So the population of St. Catharines is over 130,000 individuals. So for grocery deliveries, we will be averaging between 100 to 300 individuals per week. So for our calculations, we'll be using the middle number, which is 200. On average, each delivery earns around $10. As talked earlier, $5 commission, or $5 delivery fee and 10% commission. But this is the low end. If families are using our delivery service, that's only $50 of groceries. And we know groceries usually are more for families. So we're keeping the numbers a little low, but this is the bare minimum that we're expecting. So for sales, we're expecting $200 per week in St. Catharines. For alcohol, we're estimating between 50 and 100 individuals in St. Catharines. So we're going to be using 75 individuals for our calculation. And each delivery earns $10 for alcohol. So that's roughly $750 per week for alcohol deliveries in St. Catharines. And our operating costs. So for operating costs, we have a point of sale system which allows us to use debit and credit for our customers. We are renting 2 debit sale or POS systems currently, which costs $60 a month to rent. Then there are the debit and credit transaction fees and the terminal protection plan for both point of sale systems, which is $12, and a wireless speed connection for these systems, which is $20. So it amounts to roughly $100 a month for the renting and usage of these systems. Also, we'll be using Shopify for our web hosting on our new website. So as we were discussing earlier, Burberry uses a website that has the grocery store pretty much on their website. With Shopify, we'll be able to do the exact same thing and have the grocery store on our website. So the individuals can go on our website and exactly pick what they want from the grocery store. So for this, we'll be paying $90 a month for this service. And last but not least, vehicle expenses. So the only expense really for this is gas. As we were discussing, we're moving away from being a delivery company and more of a logistics and tech company. So in the near future, we're hoping to get away from vehicle expenses and use third-party contractors for our services. So we won't be using gas or maintenance fees for the vehicles. And then I'll be passing this off to Dylan.
All right, so there's a lot of great opportunities with this business. Right now, there's not really a market for this. So we have that first mover advantage that is extremely valuable. And with the trends of technology and online shopping rising, we can see this through Amazon and even small companies like Nokia and Yes House. We're experiencing people want the convenience of online purchasing, just like a click of the button away. And so we want to give their value to them. And so people are starting to realize that their time is more important than the $5 or $10 that it costs just to get it delivered right to their door. And the biggest opportunity we have is our rapid growth. We can expand to more cities and even expand to different products that we deliver. And this being one of the greatest opportunities, it's also one of the greatest challenges. Rapid expansion, although it can be very profitable, it's coordinating many drivers with the orders and the customers that we experience. So what we're going to do for this is we'll have a phone GPS locator, and we'll have a system that will allow and track them and give it to the closest or most optimal driver. And meeting demand with this supply that we're going to have. We're planning on having more drivers on call than we'll normally have, so that we'll always have more supply. We don't want to have the customers not happy. It's more valuable for us in the long term that we're giving them something they can trust. As Mike brought up, and putting an entire grocery store on our site can be very expensive, $90, but as I said earlier, it's going to be a lot better. People want the convenience of just clicking, and we're trying to make that the easiest part of our business. And breaking this trust barrier that we see, giving information to online is kind of seen as a no-do anymore. But if we're breaking that, we can see with Facebook and Uber that people are starting to push that off. People are now paying to get in a stranger's car, which our parents would never have done. And I'm going to throw that back to Mike. I mean that.
Right, so kind of said a lot of information very quickly about our business, but the thing we really want to reiterate is that we're not just a delivery company. We're starting there now because we actually have to create the demand and create a customer base, right? We need people to actually want our service. As soon as we actually start creating this demand, though, we're going to move to a logistics company, kind of like Uber did, by connecting people who want rides with people who are willing to give those rides. We're going to connect people who want groceries with people who are willing to deliver groceries. It's a very large attractive market. So as you've seen, even like just the success of Amazon, how everyone wants everything delivered as fast as possible right to the door. You can even get like cars delivered now. So groceries and alcohol are a large market that's really taken off in the States. And usually you can see trends, especially in the Western states, coming to Canada within a year or two. And then we solve many problems. So as you know, you always want to add value to your customers. Not only are we obviously going to save them time and effort and have groceries delivered right to them, we're also going to provide them with recipes and other tips and tricks, try to save them money and pass on savings to our customers. We don't see our customers just as a source of profit or value. We see them actually as providing a service to them. And then we're in a rapidly growing industry. So delivery is very fast and growing and everything. You can see all these new businesses coming out every day that are getting into this industry. So that's everything we want to talk about today. Any questions?
So you guys have already started to do this, right?
Yeah, we're almost at 100 customers since Halloween.
So your biggest advantage is that you guys have personal touch. You guys are really face to face. They know you guys. My thing is how you guys gonna grow and keep that same personal touch service with regards to like your company. The only thing that I kind of see with regards to like a barrier that you need to overcome is that thing. The 100 customers you have now there is like your loyal following. They specifically want to deal with you.
Yeah.
How do you tell those same people, hey, like, trust this individual? What's the quality control?
It's a really good question because we've really been trying to talk about that recently. I think we have to do 2 steps. One, keep our brand image with them trusting our company, right? So it might not still be our faces, but the drivers we bring on, we have to make sure they fit our corporate culture, that they're friendly individuals, right? We can even do this just by testing them and going to the customers out there and ask them how their service was. So we can test our drivers out. I mean, it's kind of like a balance. You find drivers that really embellize what we believe in and helping the customers, and then stay away from the drivers who really don't try to offer good service, right? So it is tricky.
Well, the drivers that you are going to be bringing in using their own vehicles, or are you providing?
Yeah, we're going to hire them as contractors. So they use their own vehicles. And as we said, the pricing model, what we're hoping to do is they're going to get the standard delivery fee, so the $5 should go to them, whereas our business would get commission. Hopefully, when we get our new site and we can handle everything through Shopify online, everyone will be paying online already, which means our drivers don't really have to have POS systems with them. They don't have to be handling cash, which is a lot easier for them. And we're hoping at least once our system gets really, I mean, the hardest thing is the logistics, right? Matching as fast as possible. So we're hoping 3 to 4 orders an hour per driver, as long as we have the groceries set up ahead of time, which means they can be making $5 an order. So they might be making $15, $20 an hour delivering. So I think they'd be fine using their own vehicles if they're being paid almost double minimum wage.
One of the references you made was to Uber. And Uber actually goes out and ensures the quality control with regards to the vehicles that are being used. Are you guys going to be doing the same sort of quality control with the vehicles that are being used by your drivers?
Yeah, we're going to have to do something like that. We don't want people showing up to a family home delivering groceries in a car that's like rusted and broken down and not even road safe. So it's definitely going to be a difficult thing we're going to have to do. We're going to have to screen our drivers and screen their vehicles.
In terms of what you're offering, do you think that time convenience outweighs the actual experience of going to the grocery store? I know, I personally myself, I've worked as a chef, so being able to go in and squeeze and touch the vegetables themselves, which is important to a lot of people, do you think that that will end up being a challenge for growth?
Yeah, definitely. We've been talking a lot about produce. Not only people want to feel it, they want to see it, they want to make sure that it fits their standards, right? Like sometimes people like more ripe fruit, they like less ripe fruit depending on time. Sometimes people want more bananas or less bananas, and more peppers and less peppers. So I think we're definitely going to overcome that and figure out the proper way to do it. Basically, what we're doing right now is really trying to follow Instacart's model. It seems like they've really got down to a science now where people actually are happy with the produce that comes to them. So we're definitely going to figure out a proper way to do that.
Right now, have you had any challenges with people complaining about the groceries that they have received as far as quality? And how have you Okay, so how do you?
No, not yet, no. I think, and this is gonna be an issue when we grow right now, since it's really us doing it and we don't have a ton of customers. Let's say we get to the grocery store and they're missing an item they wanted, we can actually call or text them very quickly, and they'll get back to us letting us know if they wanted it. But in the future, as we're growing, it's not gonna be quite as easy as doing it. You have hundreds and hundreds of customers, so we're probably gonna come like an actual policy on our website that says, if your item's sold out or something, they have an option to maybe pick something else that they would like. So we have to figure out a way to mitigate those risks of putting proper order.
You mentioned about buying in bulk from farmers markets.
Yeah.
To end up sourcing your produce locally. Do you have any plans for any cold storage at all to keep the produce nice and fresh if you're going to be doing that?
Yeah, we definitely have to look into that. Right now, my plan was, I worked for the BIA for a couple of years in my hometown, so I worked with a lot of, like in the farmers market, a lot of vendors. So hopefully our biggest plan would be, maybe we know how many orders we have ahead of time, we go there, get all the produce, and instantly box it up and take it right to their house. But as we do grow, we'll need to like rent an actual like cold storage area to keep them, and a production spot that should put them in the boxes and take them out. But I think as we grow, we'll have to look more at the actual facilities. But for the smaller amount of customers, I think we could do it same day, as long as our logistics is quite efficient, right? That's the hardest challenge, just making sure everything's point to point.
Now, with marketing, have you considered any additional revenue through customer market research on products?
Yeah, one of the biggest things we've been looking at, like already, we know email lists and everything that are very important, especially in the groceries. I guess we've looked at the ethical side of it too, tracking people, what they're buying, what they're purchasing, and actually keeping the customer list and really knowing what our customers actually want. So there's definitely areas of revenue and client list there that we could look into.
I do know there's areas for expansion for sure, and like I know, for example, we actually had a few orders where some girls actually wanted us to pick up some skirts that they got hemmed and some other products at the store, and we actually performed that service for them because we're small enough. We would have been able to do that, so we want to provide a good service for them, and it's really good because once we did that, she ordered groceries from us the next week because the retention rates were really high.
I think as long as you prove yourself to them, they know your company and they believe in what you're doing, then they, especially with alcohol. So let's say alcohol's a lot simpler. You order like a 12 pack or 24 pack from us, we do or two, you're happy. And you're like, okay, this company's good, I like their service, and then next week they might try groceries. So it's an easy way to kind of get them to trust you and get a personal feel with your customers.
And you mentioned Facebook as being your predominant social media site. Have you considered Pinterest or Instagram because predominantly their users are women?
Yeah, we could definitely look into advertising on Pinterest and Instagram. We could also create a Pinterest and Instagram account, and that's where we could post our recipes and other forms of value-added services that will appeal to the women who will use our services as well.
We're also looking at a blog too, that can actually follow and have some like recipes and weekly updates and a little bit more involved with us instead of us just being a faceless business. We actually add a little bit more value that way to them too. We also have been looking at pretty much any social media platform we can get onto. That's why we're using like Hootsuite to track a lot of them. So like even like Twitter and anything like that, really anywhere we can get our name up where people can see us.
Okay, and I've just got one last question for you. What are your plans for, and I don't know if you've faced this challenge yet, what do you do if you get to someone's house and they don't want to pay?
Yeah, that's right now it's definitely a big challenge because hopefully, as we were saying when we moved to our new site, we really want people to pay online originally, which kind of saves us both the risk, and also with online payments now they're very secure too. So if we didn't provide the service, they could probably raise a claim, get their money back. At the same time, we know they've already paid. But right now, I guess not to sound naive, but like we've kind of been relying on the trust factor of people who do the orders times, because like they put the effort in to do an entire grocery order. They're usually not going to. We found they have, even for alcohol orders, they haven't took the time to like prank us or do fake orders. They've always been there and wasn't very happy. So right now we don't have to deal with that. I guess if it ever happened, we'd probably have to eat the cost. But the more interesting thing is if you have more customers, as long as you can store it, and as you said, for produce, then you can use it for other orders. So.
I was just going to have one more. what are your plans for geographical expansion in the Niagara region? And how would you plan to do that?
I think right now, the interesting thing is we're really trying to create like a large target market inside St. Catharines. That way we can get our site really efficient and working, make sure there's no technical issues. And then from then on, we know we kind of have something to copy and paste and move out, right? So it's kind of like what Instacart did. They focused on a few cities. They had their site very good and secure. They had good drivers. They knew how their system worked. And they just started moving to other cities. So actually, like the geographical part, we probably started St. Catharines, moved to Niagara, started moving towards Hamilton. I'm from like Huron area, so we probably started in London and areas around there too. So tons of areas that start to expand. And obviously towards the GTA, was a very large amount of people. But then when you get there, we'll have to do a little bit more research into switches more from actual houses to like large apartment buildings and things like that. But
sorry, I know you've had a lot of questions. I just want to ask one question.
Yeah.
So you guys are saying like this is a more of a first mover strategy, right?
Yeah.
I know in other countries out in like England and Europe, for instance, in England, there's this company called Asda, and basically what you guys are trying to say is you're the middleman between the consumer and the actual like location, like the bear store or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So this company in Asda, they're like the Walmart of the UK, and what they do is they actually they deliver to the customer themselves. So what would be your plan for Walmart starting doing that? For instance, how would you guys? What's your exit strategy then, or how would you guys replan yourself or rebrand yourself? Have you guys thought of that?
Yeah, we've been looking a little bit and stuff like that, and just kind of seeing where other people are doing and what might be a threat to us in the future. To be brutally honest, I guess if Walmart did it, it'd be incredibly hard to compete with them price-wise. So we always have to focus on adding maybe more personability, more value to our customers, because Walmart probably wouldn't be as willing to actually try to help them with recipes and stuff like that. And thirdly, we probably have to focus more on niche markets and the whole market as a whole, because Walmart's very difficult to compete with. But it's definitely something we just had to outwork them, add more value, and hopefully Walmart's difficult to do, but maybe underprice them. So.
Yeah, and Dalton, a quick question.
My question, I'm not really sure if this is a question or just a piece of advice to you guys, but I worked on a really similar project when I was in university with some friends. And one of the things that we noticed is that there's a lot of people that offer like snack options and non-perishable food items. But with fresh food, there's a lot of food regulations in Ontario that are very strictly, you have to like abide to really strictly.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you guys have considered that kind of stuff as of yet, but you definitely want to work that into your delivery screening process and, and somehow meet all of those requirements.
I guess to go off of that answer for a question, I guess this summer, my mom actually went to I guess a farmer's market or a producer, and she actually signed a contract with them, and they delivered the groceries, I guess produce, to my mom's house once a week. So I'm guessing that they would screen their produce before they hand them out. So they would screen it, give it to us, and then we would deliver the groceries. So I'm sure that on their end they would make sure they're allowed to provide to the public before we deliver any of these produce products.
Thank you guys.